Alright, so today we're going to be reading a Brave Frontier Creepypasta, and I just got done reading it, and I'm going to put a warning up that, this video, or this Creepypasta, is very graphic, so if, pixelated blood and going in detail with, how stuff gets, killed in the Creepypasta, not in real life, but, in this, is not your cup of tea, then, yeah, there should be a unisonly creepypasta up that's funny and not gory or anything. So yeah, I just had to make sure that I did this because I don't want to have you guys dive into this and then it's like, oh dude, what? Units are getting killed. Oh, that's a spoiler. Yeah, so I just wanted to put this little warning up, and yeah, if you think you can handle that, then definitely stay tuned and enjoy this spooky Brave Frontier creepypasta. Alright, and we're back with another creepypasta because I happened to also find a Brave Frontier one, and I used to make a lot of Brave Frontier, well, not a lot, but I used to play Brave Frontier a lot, and it shut down, well, not shut down, it went offline this year, and so I might as well just dedicate a creepypasta to Brave Frontier. Funny story, actually. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but I actually made a Brave Frontier creepypasta eons ago. I don't know where it's at. I had it up on my channel, but then I deleted it because it wasn't good. So yeah, if anyone happens to have Xenon's Revenge, let me know, and then I probably would read it, knowing how it ends. Actually, no, I don't, because I made that when I was like in high school. That was years back. So yeah, I don't even remember how I started it, but I know it was bad. Anyway, let's move on and read this Brave Frontier creepypasta. I stare at the screen. No, screw it, I'm gonna read this in my regular voice because I don't know if this is good or bad. I stare at the screen, lips pressed, the dim light of the smartphone chasing away the shadows of midnight. My fingers twitch impatiently as hesitantly hovering over the golden button embezzled in the center of the screen. My eyes meet with hers, twin pairs of soulless, uncaring, violet eyes gazing past me. My teeth clench as I tap. The image fades and a rainbow gate emerges from the shadows. I hesitate once again. It's alluring, multicolored aura beckoning me like a siren at sea. You've gone this far, Alice, I muttered to myself, biting my lip. I tap. The door cracks. I feel my heart shudder. So I'm able to visit this world again. I slam the power button on the side of the screen and the light dies, leaving me sitting alone with only the chirping of crickets to keep me company. The phone falls to the bed with a muted thud, and I pull my knees to my chest, choking back a sob. Fuck, I muttered to myself, bashing my forehead against my bare knees. Fuck, 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 fuck! I grumble and reach out, fumbling clumsily on the nightstand next to my bed. My laptop slides into my lap, and with one quick patter of keys, the familiar white background of Reddit meets my eyes. Oh boy. Oh no. Top post of the subreddit is yet again another one of her, Anima, fully imped, fully SP enchantment, even in her Omni form, adorned in sparkling golden armor. Betweenus antlers, whose height seemed to tower into the heavens themselves, she kept her damning emotionless glaze. Oh, jeez. Fucking dear bitch, the words come naturally, having said over and over and still over again the eternity of the joyous holiday month. My pointer flicked to the first update, then to the comment box, and a forced congratulations flying from my fingertips. I used to be happy, ecstatic when the gate had reopened. I still hear the shattering of rainbow gates in my ears. I don't know what that word means. I don't know how to say that. Threatening to drive me to insanity. A faint vibration of silence stagnating in the air, and I check my phone. Guild timer reset. I sigh and swipe, tapping away the surge on my screen as he was a disgusting little Gant. Gant, whatever. With another tap of the myriads of blue flags, our guild opens up on the screen. It was a silly name that Yukari had came up with. I dumped a gorgeous amount of my zeal and karma into the research center, their numbers having long since become meaningless. Infinite masses that continue to accumulate without end, and check the board. Marissa's recent message popped up on the screen. 3 excited words punctuated with a gross amount of exclamation marks. Just got her! Her profile picture was that damnable, uncaring stare. And I tapped and typed the same tired message. Awesome, Zeria, Marissa. Don't forget to set her for Soul Karma Dungeons coming up next Monday. I sighed and fought back onto my bed. Swinging my legs, snapped my laptop in two. I untied the red ribbon, tying back my hair, letting the blonde locks pull graciously around my head. Turning onto my stomach, I bring my phone again and return to the homepage. 2 gems lie uselessly in my inventory. The spoils of Everest's demise at the hands of my Elza. 60 gems, 60 shiny jewels, accumulated over 3 months of meticulous saving, anxious anticipation, and the most minute of lucky draws resulting in not only a Fina, but a rain as well. I could only assume that they were filled with the coffers of the damned gummy, probably flying off right night on a sleigh pulled by Xeris. My blue eyes narrowed with annoyance, and the phone shuts off once again. Sliding unceremonious, I turned back to my laptop, seeing a golden notification besides the treasure chest, serving as the mailbox of the subreddit. I pull myself closer, my finger dragging on the pointer to the mailbox. I figured I'm getting a reply from one of my snippy remarks on r/Overwatch. Or perhaps that silly gif I made of Shungi petting Litten right off of r/gifs. My brow furrows, seeing instead of PM from r/gummy? I said, chuckling. You must be really bored tonight, Marissa. I click on the message, my mind already mulling over the comeback toward that bored little witch. I skim the message and roll my eyes, giving an amused huff. Still haven't gotten that Zeria, Alice. I can help. Message me back if you're interested. I lean forward, my fingertips flying across the keys. You finally gonna pay me back for the Tokiyaki we got last summer. Took you long enough. I send the message off. I'm just about ready to open a new tab when the reply pops onto my screen. I know Marissa can get really into her pranks, but, like, that wasn't even 10 seconds. Must have downed 2 cups of coffee like the idiot she is. I open the message greeted only by a vibrated URL. I quickly type, Marissa, you and your scammers can fuck off. I send the message. Barely 2 seconds pass before a reply comes again. Again, it's that stupid URL. I roll my eyes, sighing in resignation. She must have spent a lot of time on this dumb screamer if she was pestering me about it so much. If I click it and tell her to fuck off, she'll leave me alone. Without a second thought, I click the link, and instantly the screen darkens. It's not a YouTube video, or a streamable video, or some crappy gif of those spooky skeletons she's so fond of. It's an image. A JPEG, I think. A JPEG with 3 words crudely written in Microsoft Paint. Check your phone. Hold on, wait, sorry. Let me redo that. A JPEG of 3 words written crudely in Microsoft Paint. Check your phone. Instinctively, I reach back and grab my phone between my 2 pillows. Swiping the screen, I met with the arena menu. I'm fairly certain I left it on the main menu, right? I can feel an odd twitch in the back of my skull as I stare at the screen, feeling something amiss. The dull red chains across the challenge arena are absent, leaving that familiar image of Selena take on new challengers, and the tagline said. I sighed, reminiscing on the old challenge arena. My beloved Hadron, Bestie, and Iris, sweeping through the ranks deterred only by the cruel hand of RNG, dictating that a full SPB team goes first. Shrugging, I click on this image, expecting the usual CA Challenge Arena is unavailable till further notice message. Instead, I'm taken to that familiar procession of sprites, the word Challenge Arena boldly shining at the top of the screen. I pinched myself once, twice, thrice. Nope. There was a red welt on my left arm now. I wasn't dreaming. Oh god. I wasn't dreaming. Challenge Arena was actually back. I could get more gems. I could summon for Zaria. I tunneled on the red enter button at the bottom of the screen and filtered my omnis, quickly selecting my usual Coliseum units. A Mifune, Azurai, Kruns, Selena, and my trusty Juno Seto. I checked the oh no, I'm scared. I checked the Brave bonus modifier, only to see that it was maxed out at 250. That's weird. I checked my opponent's squad is a Lario lead with 2 Doob Luthers, a Zella, and a Kiriki. The Zahella wasn't Omni. Hell, the Kiriki wasn't even 7 stars. The one Omni alone should have pummeled my bonus. I shrugged. Perhaps Gummy was putting Challenge Arena through an early beta and didn't want to restrict the squads that people could use. It would make the early league insanely easy, but I wasn't complaining. I clicked challenge and was brought to the combat screen. Mifune's sprite surged forward, swinging at Lario, and decapitated him. I blinked. Mifune didn't just kill the unit, he straight up murdered Lario. I stared at the headless sprite, seeing animation that wasn't the default standby. The sprite was swaying limply, the bow falling to the ground. There was blood. Holy shit. There was pixelated blood dripping from the stump that used to be his neck. The body fell to his knees, and it crumpled in a heap. The other members of my squad weren't attacking after Mifune like they should have, but I didn't care at that point. I just saw a graphical decapitation of a unit in this game getting straight up murdered. What in the hell? I pinched myself again, until I drew blood. If I was dreaming, this was a really deep fucking dream. Azurai went next after what had seemed a painfully long pause, swinging his brutal axe on the ground and enveloped the Kiriki. I choked back a yelp as I saw the body of the petite little girl riddle in agony. It was disturbingly realistic. Movements that seemed akin to a motor cap actor being literally set on fire. I felt sweat begin to cake my face as the body desperately rolled on the ground, falling to pat out the flames. I felt bile rise to my throat as her pale pixel skin churned and cracked in a manner that seemed too hyper-realistic for this type of game. I felt sick as her body fell still, flames still rising from the charred remains of her body. I hit the power button off my phone. I slammed it. I grunted in frustration as I hit the button again and again and again, but the phone refused to turn off. It was logged into this hideous spectacle as Juno Seto channeled a beam of sunlight, sending it hurling toward Luther. The bolt smashed into his chest and I saw his body rupture. It exploded like some sort of fleshy water balloon, sending little limbs and entrails flying out. I saw gory remains dripping against the edge of the sprites. In the background. Fuck. I flinched as what I saw could only assume... Wait. I flinched as what I saw I could only assume was a liver slammed into the screen. It didn't cause the phone to vibrate, of course. I mean, it's a fucking video game, of course. This was all just pixels and animation. But the thought of it didn't help me. Rationalize the liver slowly sliding down the screen, leaving a disturbingly real trail of juice against the screen. My trembling fingers rose, sliding across the trail of slime. Nothing. Of course there was nothing. This nothing was but a game. A bad dream. A fucking something. Krunz's sprite leapt, hurling towards the second Luther. Much like Lario, the sword beam close enough to The sword seemed to cleave enough of the sprite, splitting it clearly in half. I shuddered as I saw one of the half-dead Luthor slump to the side, bits of broken bone, tore muscle, and blood hanging from the ruined body. After the spectacle from Azurai and Juno Seto, this seemed fairly tame in comparison, but the detail put into the dead bodies was beyond something I was used to seeing from the game. Finally, Selena moved, charging at the remaining Zella. Though I figured nothing else would surprise me, my eyes widened as, in surprise, as Selena, instead of swinging her treasure Lexida, instead jumped back from the Zelha sprite, readying her blade. In a flash, she plunged forward, gorging Zella on the tip of the blade and running it straight through her body. Selena raised the body, and I saw it squirm for an uncomfortable minute. Seeing blood running down the sapphire blade as Zella clung to life, trying first to pry herself from the blade, but then to beg for her life from an uncaring and static sprite. As the body finally went limp, Selena slung her blade, sending the body back into the background. As the bright yellow victory flashed onto the screen, I tried once again to shut off the phone, again to no avail. My blank eyes stared at the screen as it returned to the selection screen of Challenge Arena. The sprite of Rainbow Goodness Goddess to Lilith levitating atop the soul pedestal. My thoughts of Zaria, or gems, or tickets, or frankly fucking anything, had long since washed away by the inexplainable gore from a generally harmless stupid gacha game. I hammered both the back button of my phone and the back arrow on the menu, both to no avail. My disgust slowly morphed into frustration as a peculiar mode refused to banish itself. Frankly, with a resigned huff, I hit Challenge Arena yet again. I figured I'd take my frustration out on the next team I ran into. The enemy came into view. A rainbow goddess to Lilith and nothing else. A fully empty squad save for the mock unit of the Ditzy goddess. The brave bonus, of course, stayed at the max multiplier of 250, figuring it was simply an easy win from someone who used their Lilith to exterminate a 5-star squad. So I sent the same 5 units again. The verdant plains opened up with the 6 sprites. Mifune shot forward, ready to deliver a fatal blow. The Lilith sprite shook as Mifune swung, yet only a masculine 1 damage came from the blow as a light barrier deflected the strike. Lilith's... I thought next said something else, if I'm being honest. Then Lilith stepped forward and grabbed Mifune's neck. I knew this was Challenge Arena. I knew this Challenge Arena was some sort of nightmarish aberration, but somehow I was still caught off guard. Caught off guard from Lilith's light steps as she approached the samurai. Her arm shot forward as a stickingly realistic crack exploded from my speakers. Well, why were you playing this on your speakers? As if Gummy had recorded the sound of an actual bone breaking in lieu of their normal effects. I gagged, watching through half-shut eyes Mifune's body crumble to the ground. The other units seemed to flinch, their eyes almost showing a hint of fear? Was I seeing things? To her arm as she continued walking towards the remaining 4 units. A bolt of light forming in her outstretched palm. Azurai readied his axe, but his painfully long wind-up animation, as it did many times before, was his deterrent. What sounded like a crack of thunder echoed from my speakers, and a bolt flew across my screen in a flash of blinding white light that burned my eyes. Away the spots in my vision, I saw the body of my Azurai laying in a pool of pixelated blood. The still cracking bolt of hard light embedded squarely in his skull. The remaining 3 sprites broke their standby poses, beginning to run from the bloodthirsty goddess. I stared, transfixed at the brutality on my screen, as the camera panned over to follow them. An explosion of light blew up the left side of my phone, and a bolt of light shot across the screen, piercing Crunch's leg. I saw the Crunch sprite topple over and his leg dragging useless behind him. But I heard Dear God, I heard a scream. It was a loud, guttural human scream. Not some sort of synthesized voice. Or hell, or not even some really, really good actor. I swear to this fucking day that the only way you could replicate such a sound would be to jab a knife through someone's leg. Selena Sprite spun around, grabbing Crunch's arm and desperately pulling him along. I could hear her panting, her muffled sobs, her quivering voice. Crunch! Come on, Crunch! We need to go! No! He cried, choking back. A painful gasp as the bullet dug deeper through his thigh. Take Juno Seto and run! But run, damn it! Shaking Selena's grip off of him, Crunch propped himself up on his claymore, shooting away the tear-shrunken princess. I saw her flee off screen as Lilith emerged from the opposite side, her feet barely cresting the blood plains as she approached the helpless mitigator. With a loud, desperate yell, Crunch threw himself to Lilith, his blade directed towards her head. And then I saw it. I swear to God, I could see her sprite smirk. Even without a mouth, she fucking smirked. Her right hand reached out and grabbed the claymore mid-swing, tearing it from Crunch's hand. With a wave of her free hand, Crunch's sprite was torn clean in half, his guts spilling out before her like confetti. His screams felt like ice running down my spine. The camera flew away once again to Selena and Juno Seto, the two remaining units collapsing to their heaving bodies wrecked with fatigue. They spun around, trembling and holding each other, as Lilith's sprite emerged from the left side. Through my speakers, I could hear a faint, childish laugh. Lilith was laughing. She closed the distance with the two, only managing to scoot back a few pixels in response. The same demonic, playful laugh echoing in the speakers. I felt some unexplainable energies seize my fingers and I slammed the power button. Lilith's sprite paused and turned to me. A text box appeared, her smiling face adoring it. Now, Alice. You said we could play. Wait, you said we could play. You can't just stop our playtime early. Selena's sprite jumped up, lunging with her Lexida, distance of her killing blow of Zella. But the goddess seemed unfazed with the attack. Raising her hand, the blade froze, tip just inches away from Tilla's open palm. The laugh turned into a giggle, and her hand turned much like a turning doorknob. I saw Selena's arm twist in response, the whimpering of the Sama princess in the background. Then a loud crack burst through the speakers, and the whimpers were replaced with screams. Selena's arm was bent at an unnatural angle, her other arm desperately trying to set it back in place with no success. Talila's giggling was insistent at her as her hand moved, commanding Selena's broken arm like a puppeteer. Lexida twist, its sharpening edge moving closer and closer to Selena's exposed throat. No, she screamed, her hand gripping the blade and attempting to pull it back. Blood ran down in torrents, staining her pale body, though it was clear that she was doing little to stop the blade's progress. Please no, Juno Seto cried, grabbing Selena's twisted arm and trying to pull it back from her. The two girls struggled helplessly, their sobs and screams far too realistic to possibly even have been some sort of sick, twisted joke from Gummy. I hit the power button again and again, swearing I would break the damn thing if it wouldn't take me out of this nightmare. Although I could do nothing but watch as Lexida drew closer and closer to Selena's neck. Her screams became shrill begging, then wet coughing, then a grotesque strained gagging as the blade slid seamlessly through her neck. Selena's lifeless body collapsed at the ground, Juno Seto following beside her. Grief-stricken, she buried her face into Selena's bloodied chest, her shaking, quivering body resigned to her fate. She spared no glance to the humming Lilith as she tore Lexida free from the death grasp of Selena. She readied the blade with a gleeful smile. With a pain choke cry, Juno Seto strained to voice her final empty words with the sapphire blade clean through her neck. The familiar defeat flashed across the screen, though I barely noticed it. My eyes were focused on Lilith, the sprite slowly turning. toward me. It smiled with a new text box over the defeat. That was fun, Alice. Let's play again. Send more of your units. And besides those words, I regret ever looking at that image. Talila's mouth was open in a monstrous, wretched howl. Her blue hair and green ribbons washed away in a fiery shade of red and orange, like the depths of hell themselves. And her eyes, torn clean from their sockets, leaving only an empty void of paralyzing, infinite light. I swear I could only see them digging into my soul, trying to dig her fingers into my heart and pry it out my chest. Randomly bombarded my phone one after another. Send more units. 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 Don't you love me, my precious summoner? I wound my arm back and threw my phone across the room, hearing it shatter against the wall with a piercing crack. The screen had broken, plugging me into the darkness, but the damn vibrations continued. A phone call aimed toward no one else besides the precious summoner that had just sacrificed her units to a demon. I threw the covers over me and buried myself in pillows, desperately trying to drown out the sound. For hours and hours it rang, the persistent goddess trying to contact her herald. I clamped my eyes shut, hoping this was a dream, wishing this was a dream. Those eyes, those damnable white voids would hold their image even through my shut eyes, an eternal reminder of the monastery I had witnessed. I buried myself into more pillows, hoping that sleep would rob me away from this torment. And the ringing stopped. My phone. I think I forgot to charge it. I breathed a sigh of relief and resigned myself to sleep, figuring I would explain to my mom why I broke my phone when the time came. I felt fatigue wash over me, and I eagerly awaited the grip of the Sandman. And I think I had almost escaped, but the pillow was thrown from my face, a hand clamped firmly over my mouth. I immediately screamed, my body flailing uselessly at the grasp of the hands tightly enveloped. My panicked eyes looked into the red, flaming tint of the skin over my face, tracing it back to a face of scarlet red, with piercing white void staring back at me. I didn't say we were done, Alice. All right. Well, that was a Brave Frontier creepypasta. I did not think that this is gonna be as long as it was, or as gruesome. Like, because the story about how I found this was, I was just looking for, like, I want to do UL creepypasta because, you know, UL is what made my channel blow up, right? So I was like, for Halloween, I'll just read this. And then I also thought, it'd be cool if I found a Brave Frontier creepypasta. And so I found this one, and I just decided to read it. Not like skimming over it or anything. And yeah, Jesus Christ. Like, man, this is graphic for no reason. And to think that Lilith would be the villain in this story is kind of crazy, honestly. And, yeah. That was a brutal. Yeah, it just made me realize, too, that we'll never get Challenge Arena again. Because I think it was like back in 2015 where Challenge Arena was open for like a couple months. And then it like closed. And we never got it back. So it just made me realize, man, I miss Challenge Arena. That really was a good way to get gems. And yeah, I mean, I'll probably put up like a warning with this one because it's graphic and I don't want anyone to be spooked. So I'll just have to remember to put one up before I edit this. And yeah, what were your opinions on this creepypasta? And yeah, happy Halloween. Even though this probably won't go up on Halloween, but yeah, you know, 2 weeks in advance, happy Halloween. And with that being said, I'm gonna end this very long video here. Can't believe I've been recording for 30 minutes, but it is what it is. Yeah. Man, Brave Frontier, Creepypasta. A decent one that's way better than the one I made when I was like 15 or something. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.